Right, I'm going today to show you how to make these little pumpkins. I hope you can see my hands there. Now this is something that you can sit and do indoors. You don't need to be in the studio because the weather's rubbish out there and it's absolutely pouring with rain. I've got a few little tools I've brought in, not many needed. I've got my little knife, pin tool, a couple of wooden shapers, sculpturing things. I love these metal ones. I think they're actually probably dental tools, but they work really well for me. If you can see them, they're just, yeah, I think they probably are dental. I'm not sure, but they're great for doing little details and smoothing. I love them for smoothing small areas. A couple of little craft sticks. Not technically pottery tools, but they're really good for putting the little lines into the pumpkins. I'll show you. Obviously, you'll watch me do that later. I've got a tool here with serrated edges and a flat edge. This is great for smoothing, but I'm actually not smoothing today the usual way. But this is good for the joins. It saves all the time messing about scraping the joints. You can just go like this and you've got your edge for joining. And the important tool is my little patter, as I call it, my little butter patter. It's not, it's a pottery tool. I don't know the technical names for these things, but it helps make it round. A little bit of clay soaked water there for joining. Little sponge is always handy anyway. Right, so what you need first is you need 2 balls of clay, roughly the same size. Now, because you're not making a complete sphere, these don't have to be exactly the same. What we're going to do is we're going to make a nice ball of each. Do your best to make a ball, again, not overly important. So I've got, just get them there. Now I've got them roughly the same. Now, I was sticking my thumb in. I'm finding it easier to put it in the palm of my hand, use the end of my knife and start it that way, but keep it rolling in the palm of your hand. Keep it going. Don't let it go out, otherwise it'll go all over the place. That's a good start. Gives you an pretty even thickness around the edges. Then get your thumb in and start squeezing. You work your way round from the bottom, bringing the clay up. So you're not just thinning, you're actually beginning to shape your half circle there. Try and get it even all over, the rough even thickness all over if you can. Again, not overly important, but it helps when it's drying. You know it's drying evenly. So I'm going round and round and round and round like this. There I have my pretty even half circle. In comes the tool we were talking about just now. Scrape the edges. What I forgot to say is you can, of course, pat it down and get a pretty flat top there, and then it's easier to join. Scrape it down so you can get good bond between the 2 edges. Okay, so there you've got one. See there? Alright, and then we're going to work on the other one now. So we've got our ball, in goes the back of the tool. Keep it in your palm of your hand if you can. Give it a little wiggle, and we've got a nice even amount. I found if I started it off with my fingers, I'd get a thickness on one side that I didn't get on the other. So there we go, we've opened that. Even it up a little. And work your way around to open it up to get it as close as you can to that size. We're a little bit bigger, not a problem because we can bring that out. Right, pop that down, couple of light taps, don't go mental. Get it flat as you can, and around it goes with the little scraper. Right, now I've got a very weak solution of slip here, which is a little bit of clay dust for bits that I've chopped off, and some water. It's a weak solution. You don't need a lot here. This clay is quite moist. Pop it on there. Now, this is where the tricky bit comes in, because you've got two halves that move. See how they move? What you want to do is you want to start at one edge and watch how that's joining as it goes around, and try and get it lined up as best you can with the other one. Right, now I'm happy with that. So now in comes my little metal tool. Now if you don't have the metal tool, a wooden one's just as good. So I'll work with both and show you. Give that a very gentle little squeeze in. Now what you're going to do is you're going to bring some of that clay onto that clay. And when the clay mixes, the molecules bond them together. Hence why you scrape. So bring it over gently. Now hold this in the bowl, so you're not squeezing that. Otherwise you'll end up with it losing all the centre, because you want this hollow. So there we are with the wooden tool. Just take that round there. Now I go one way, I then like to go the other way as well. Now don't worry too much about this here. That's going to get sorted out with my butter patter that we were talking about earlier. Just make sure you can't see any of the join as you go round. Compress that clay in. Now this is where I prefer my little metal one, but there are some teachers who will say don't put a metal tool anywhere near clay, but I personally like it. Okay, so we've got our little ball which we can bring. We don't actually want a circle. You might. I don't. I like a flatter pumpkin. We've got our little ball. Now in comes the tool. This is, I think, the most important tool. So you're going to start by patting it, especially around that join. Get that join in. Now don't worry about your shape too much, but don't go mad with the banging. Anything that appears, smooth it over. Don't go mad. It's gentle. Lots and lots of little gentle pats. Then work your way around the top. Basically you end up with a little leg shape. Keep going because you're compressing but you're smoothing. So we've got a nice, quite a nice little thing there. Now if these will appear, don't worry, just bring it over, smooth them over. Right, now we turn it over and we're going to start patting the other end. There we go, all over, nice gentle pat. Smooths it out, compresses it, gets your shape in. You'll feel from the inside a little bit of pressure now from the air that's trapped in there. A very, very, very gentle resistance to your patting. There. Okay, there we go. A couple of little ones there because I think I'm rushing a little to get the video. I don't want you bored. I'm just going to run through there with my tool. No, there's not a lot there. Okay, so there we are. We've got quite a smooth, ball-shaped, hollow creation, as I should call it. Right, now, this is where the little pumpkin comes in. So from above, I'm not sure you can see. Gently press it. Give it a few pats. Get your little pumpkin shape in. Don't go mad, you'll split it. Can you see that now? Now we've gone to a little pumpkin shape. Now you can use any tool you like, but I quite like these little craft sticks for this. So decide which is your top and your bottom. Going by the shape I've got there, I'm going to make that the bottom and that the top. So we'll start there, and you just make sure you've got this supported underneath here. You've got your little tool and you're going to just press it in. Make a proper indent. Press it right in. Go round, work your way around. Doesn't have to be even. There isn't a pumpkin in the world that's even everywhere. In fact, some are lopsided, some have got big dents in them. They look more realistic when they're not perfect and factory looking plastic pumpkins. There's your basis. Doesn't look too bad, a little pumpkin there. I just go back and I have a little, you know, continue to break it in a bit. Now bring it into the top. There's basically your pumpkin. Now you're going to make a little well there, just a little one, not a lot. You can run your fingers through here if you want to make that wider, compress it, just press your thumbs in. You've got your shape there. You can't really go wrong at this point. As long as you're not pressing too hard. Give it a little squeeze inwards as well, because you've opened that up. Bring it back in a bit. There's your little well. Now you want a small piece of clay, just a small piece, not a lot. That's half of that, small piece. Bowl. Now this bit here, I'm hoping that you can see it clearly. Get your finger on. You're going to make a sausage, but you don't want it sausage all the way along. You only want half of it, or 3/4 of it. So you start rolling, but leave that bit untouched. Start rolling and bring it up. Can you see what we've got there? That gives us that bit. But we're going to flatten that out anyway a bit, because we want it to sit on there. You see what we've got there? So now what I like to do, and you've got to be gentle because this will tear the clay, but it makes it look very realistic. Give it a twist. Give it a gentle twist, because that's how a natural pumpkin would be. As you're doing it, thin the top there so you're going to more of a point. It's just more attractive. See what we've got? We've got a little swirly wormy looking thing. Pumpkin head, as I call it. Now we've flattened that out slightly at the bottom. You don't want to go too flat because you've got an indent there. You can always bring that up a bit so that you are, you've got a curve to fit into the hole. A little tiny score with your knife, doesn't need an awful lot. If your clay's drier, then yes, you probably want a better slip and things, but mine's quite damp straight from the bag. Score both sides. You don't want this dropping off after all your work. A little bit of watery slip there. And pop it on. Just pop it on. Give it a little gentle press. You want that little indent shape. You see? Now, I like to also add a few little lines with my knife. I just find it realistic. Don't press too hard. You'll go straight through. You're looking at quite a thin little pumpkin here. There we are. There he is. No need to do an awful lot more with that one. I'm going to just squeeze him down a bit. I think if you've got any splits and cracks, wring your sponge right out. Just smooth them in. Just smooth them in with a little bit of water. You don't need much water on these. I mean, I do whip these out quite quickly, but because I'm slowing down to show you the video, I've got a few little things appear there that I don't normally have. But there we are. That's it. Little pumpkin. All done. Gorgeous little pumpkin. Handmade. What did that take? A couple of minutes? And it's good fun anyway. I've got a nice collection of them over there. There's about 20 going on. There he is. Thanks for watching. Bye.